Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Obviously, my name is Justin, aka Pocket Aces. If you don't know already, you can see Jordan beside me here. If you have never met him, DeFi Don't Lie, I guess, is your YouTube channel that you used to have. Or do you
Yeah.
still step on that?
We kind of merged it all together. So
Oh,
it,
awesome.
it is under the Kingdom Center.
There you go. Nice. So everything's coming all together. That's awesome. I think that's a great idea for you, for the brand, for everything else. So that's good to hear. So I'll let you get into that, I guess, first, or I guess first who you are, and I guess your history in DeFi and crypto and all that jazz, and then go from there.
Absolutely, man. Greatly appreciate you having me on here.
My
So,
pleasure.
I mean, business entrepreneurial background. I worked with my parents for about a decade. Kind of before branching off and going over to corporate America. I did it. I hated it. I realized that hey, there's probably a better use of my time. So what I did is I dove into real estate actually first before any of the alternative stuff. Like it was just strictly bread, butter, real estate. Did really, really well, Justin. I did like 500K my first 10 months. So then we went on to build multi-million dollar real estate portfolio, mainly multifamily properties. While I was doing that, we built a pretty epic community kind of in that real estate space, but realized, there's some pretty epic ways of making money that are a little bit more alternative. So I went on a little bit of a personal journey myself to determine like how does all of this go together? How can I blend like the physical, tangible world with like this alternative digital type stuff? And that's really what I've been pursuing personally for the past couple years. I've probably made all of the mistakes that everyone else has made. I've probably lost as much money, if not more money, than a lot of people. But I truly see a blended world where people can really accomplish everything that they want to accomplish. So that's what I'm excited about.
Nice, and some goals in there, which is awesome and good to hear. And I have seen that. I mean, as you've evolved, I've watched you not for a tremendous long time. I've only been in DeFi for a year and a half or so, but towards the end of the bull run, I think I finally found you, possibly through Jack, who actually said, "Hey." So hi, Jack.
Okay.
From Passive Income, Jack's Passive Income, and Claire is here as well. Welcome, thank you. Um, and we actually had the opportunity to meet a few months ago, which was pretty awesome. So we got a chance to kind of get to know each other a little better outside of the camera lens that we see each other in, and that was a fantastic opportunity for me. I found just with you and the other people that were there, just understanding the community that is around DeFi and how important communities are. So that's definitely something I want to dive a little deeper into during this conversation, because you have one, which I think is very communities are so instrumental into not making the
Yeah.
same mistakes we're all making over and over and over again. And there's values to both free ones and paid ones. And I think there's some very good nuances to the paid ones, which can add so much more value in accountability, in being present and learning and earning and doing all the things the right way, as opposed to, again, continuing to repeat those mistakes. So I definitely want to dive deep into that a little bit. I guess let's start with, before we get into the fake money experience, which is kind of I guess the next version of where we met. Maybe just go into what Kingdom is and what value they add and what you're trying to do with that whole thing, because you had two separate ones. They were kind of IRL type stuff and crypto type stuff, and now I guess you're kind of merging them together. Is the point?
Yes, I mean, like I don't see a difference. I mean, like we're either
Yeah.
business owners or we're not. Now, there is a lot of confusion when it comes to people that are in the alternative world where they say, no, I'm just an investor. There's no difference. You have an investment business, right? So it's not one or the other. I'm a business owner or I'm an investor. They're the same thing. So when we started showing people in, like you said, like IRL in real life, what could be accomplished on the digital side, and then vice versa, showing people in the digital world, like we just had a guy that made $143,000 using none of his own money. And it took him like 42 days on real estate. Well, he had come from like the digital world, and he's like, you know how many projects I would have had to have been in to accomplish that? So long story short, what I see is like that the two different worlds, they don't communicate very well, and people that are in digital really don't understand the tangible, and the tangible people don't understand this. And there's a massive gap in accomplishing what I would consider a great wealth opportunity by not having both in there. So what we did, it was about 6 months ago is when we kind of officially transitioned everything. But we said, look, different topics, but you guys need to be communicating, and you guys need to be understanding like the other side of the coin. So we've been doing that. We've worked with, I think it's like 10,000 paid members nationwide, 14 countries. Like it's at the point now where we've built up a really, really good team, and like a lot of people that know way the heck more than I do that are supporting these people on both tangible and digital.
Amazing. And I guess maybe to give everybody a little bit of an idea, looking at maybe one example on the tangible side, just because most of the people here might be DeFi related. I know again, when we met, we heard about a few different ideas, and maybe you just want to pick one as to how you're helping people grow and earn and learn on the more IRL type side, I guess, to start with.
Yeah, 100%. So I mean, like underneath the umbrella of what I would consider like tangible, real world, whatever you want to call it, underneath that umbrella, there's a lot of different things that it really depends on what you want. I think a lot of people want passive income, but again, coming back to there's a lot of misconceptions around that. So underneath the umbrella of real estate, there are a lot of options, from literally wholesaling properties to big commercial buildings like the one that I'm in right now. So obviously that is kind of one of our backbones because real estate's been around. It's like, dude, it's like the oldest industry on the planet, right? Like people have been buying, selling, trading, places to live and land since the beginning of time. So I don't have to convince people that, hey, that's a good idea. The misconception part comes in where people are like, well, I need a lot of money to start. I need great credit. I need to be bankable. Justin, we've had extensive conversations about like the banking stuff and like some of your background. A lot of that is just not true. So when people on the digital side realize that, they're like, wait a minute, I can basically do this without having to put 20% down and having a 750 credit score and blah, blah, blah. Well, now all of the doors are open. So that's one of the examples. We also talk a lot about ATMs, both Bitcoin ATMs and just regular old debit card, credit card ATMs. Merchant services, which is the credit card machine that you plug your debit or credit card into, show people how they can get a transaction off of all of that. And then probably the one that's the most unique to what I do is I built a bank called Havila Method, which is an Old Testament reference to a Bible verse where they talk about a land that's really rich in gold. I really liked the name, so we built out an entire banking system where people now don't have to use Chase or Wells Fargo or whoever they're using. They can kind of build out their own thing with a physical, tangible metal like gold, silver, platinum, palladium. So I know that's a lot, but those are a couple of the examples on the tangible side that we find to be really compelling.
Nice. No, amazing. And that's neat. And that was more than I was expecting, because obviously we don't want to go behind the scenes, so to speak, but at the same token, that shows some really good value as to what you're trying to give back to your members, which is amazing. And I guess just to go into it a little bit while we have it, is I'll pull up the fake money experience. So this, I guess if you want to describe what's going on here, obviously I've gotten involved in it and appreciate the opportunity to do so. I really appreciated the chance to learn from everybody that was there, whether it meant people who were visiting it or speakers. It was really a neat little. I've always been in conferences, leadership things in the past throughout my life, and they are always a great way to kind of jumpstart your motivation. But at the same token, there was things that came out of this that were more tangible, more measurable, more understanding to what you're going to do going forward, as opposed to just coming out, getting a whole hoopla, and then walking away and forgetting it ever happened. So I guess if you wanted to go into that a little bit to start with.
Yeah, and there's a lot to unpack in that. So kind of like you mentioned, I've been to more conferences and quote unquote events than I can even think of. I mean, like there's probably at least 65 that I've been to, all the way from thousands of people to hundreds of people, and every single experience, like I left more confused, overwhelmed, kind of on a little bit of a high that when it wore off, it was like a little bit like coming off of caffeine or drugs or something. Like it was kind of like a weird crash after it.
Mm.
And there was no intimacy, there was no real connections that were made because there were so many people. So when we decided to start gathering together as a community, we started to look at that and said, well, we really want the opposite of that. So we do our experiences here at my corporate headquarters, which is Canton, Ohio. More of a, I mean, you've seen it. It's kind of a laid back vibe. There's motorcycles, there's hot rods everywhere. It's kind of that vibe, but we have a really cool, unique space here that is more catered to actually having connection. And then versus having an event, this is more of a mastermind where people like myself and you and you've got Lucas Rubix and Pelton, like some of these guys that we've seen online, they come and not just speak and then rush out the back door to get on their private jet. They come and hang out for 2 or 3 days. And we're doing breakfast and lunch and dinner together and really going beyond just, hey, nice to meet you, bye. I got to spend a great amount of time with you, and we started a relationship and even like a little bit of a friendship. James and Lucas, and then some of the speakers that are coming here to the second one, same thing.
Yeah.
So it's just been it's been a process of creating what we couldn't find because we wanted to experience it.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree. And that was the one point I definitely wanted to get across is it was very cool because again, you go to these, there's speakers up there, you can barely touch them. If anything, you're front row and you're about 10 feet away from them, and they're just talking at you.
Yeah.
Maybe a little open question session, but normally they feel scripted. This was beyond unscripted. This was totally ad lib. And right after any event, we were all there standing around. James, Lucas, yourself, me. I can't remember the gentleman's name. He was very powerful in the end. Our MC, I guess, if you will.
Cody Jefferson.
Cody, thank you. They were all very powerful and very neat to be able to just walk up, say hi, shake their hand, and get to know them a little bit more intimately than you would in a normal experience. So that was very, very cool. And I was kind of thrown in last minute and got to be on stage even, which was kind of cool to kind of introduce myself to the people. And it was neat for me also, I guess, especially, and where I found the most value to this is that I had really just started. And so I found a lot of people coming up asking me questions, which was neat in the sense of, I think I was kind of closest to them. I'm not trying to sound anything. It's like beyond not ego, because really it was because I was newish to the scene and hadn't had the followers you guys have, and I'm not James Pelton, that kind of stuff. So it was kind of neat to be there and help and have them. I think people talk to me and realize, hey, we're all in this, and it really is all a group and a family and an opportunity to learn and earn and go from there. So very, very cool experience. Looking forward to doing something like that again. And so I do have some details up there. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. No, it's probably worth mentioning. I think a lot of people expect, we go to this event and it's all project based. Like, oh my gosh, like I just want to hear about a project. And a lot of times it's kind of putting Band-Aid on a bullet hole. So we focus very, very heavily on growth. So how do we become better investors? Everybody wants passive income. Everybody wants this life of freedom. I get it. I'm the same way. But how do we actually accomplish that? Projects are a huge part of it. I get it. But we talk a lot about strategy. That was one of the biggest things that we did at the last event or experience was we talked a lot about strategy. We talked a lot about creating a problem that is solvable. So how do we actually get a solvable problem? That way we know what project actually fits into that box. We talked a lot about transparency and accountability, and it's probably not one of the things that most people expect when they go to like an alternative type event is, man, you guys talked a lot about strategy. Well, no shit. How do you think we get free? How do you think we build businesses? Well, I want to be like Lucas Rubix. How do you think Lucas Rubix got to where Lucas Rubix is? Well, a lot of strategy, like a lot of thought went into how he built his portfolio and kind of moving chess pieces around as available. So that was a big focus, and I think it will continue to be a big focus as we move forward.
Yeah, I agree, and that was also again probably the biggest thing again, other than the stuff we spoke about, is that the fact that Lucas or James or Jordan or me, none of us got into one project and made it. Like that's impossible, right? And like you say, it's about a strategy. It's about methodically thinking about it, planning. And again, I think one of the things that came out of that, without again going behind the curtain too far, is people didn't realize how little money they could use to make money with. They all think, like you said earlier, is you need $100,000, $200,000 to make it work. But no, it's about being smart about it, starting with your little bit, doubling it, and now doubling it again, and also still looking at the long game and realizing how little you need to get to that end game, which I think a lot of people don't realize. They're just so in the moment. It's almost nuts how in the moment they are. So yeah, awesome. And I mean, so the event, obviously looking forward to the opportunity that's there. If anybody would like to get involved in that, I will talk about it at the end, I guess, a little bit more. But obviously there is the ability to sign up. I have a link if anybody would like to use it. I'd love to meet some people here. This is some photos from the event, and we'll get more into that. And I do think, and I don't know if you've announced all of them yet, but there's some more speakers coming. Am I allowed to mention one that I might already know about?
Absolutely.
So Austin Clark, I believe, is coming to visit with us. So that's pretty awesome. So if those of you who don't know him, he's actually gotten very heavy into the trading side of things, and is looking forward to growing, basically just really fine tuning himself and avoiding the DeFi space as a whole, which I think there's value to balancing it out and having a little bit of everything. But I think trading for yourself or learning trading is a skill that I think a lot of us could use a little more of. So, or at least understanding it so that when we're looking at a bot's action, we can maybe see why it's doing what it's doing, and not just accepting the bot at face value. So, so looking forward to meeting him actually. And that's going to be a huge opportunity for me. So I'm excited for that. So if you want to come meet people, if you want to come like hang out with people, there's stuff down here. So grab the link, come have a look. If you have any questions, please reach out to me in my Discord. I do would love to have a chat with any of you guys who have questions about this. And other than that, I would like to dive a little bit deeper for you and for the people watching with me, because for me, one thing I want to do a little better job at is helping people find the places, the communities that are going to be right for them. Because I think we right now are so fragmented, sort of, and to prepare for the bull run, I think it would be great if people found a home that fits them, whether that's a paid home, whether it's not a paid home. I think there's some, again, we talked about it, some value to both. I think what you guys are doing is really fantastic. So I'd like to give you a floor to kind of to go into whatever detail you'd like, your sales pitch, whatever you like to look at it. And I'd like to even talk to, at some point, as I mentioned before we got on this, to Lucas as well in his community. I'd like to give a voice to them in the more larger gamut that whatever I can influence anyways, because of the value I feel in them. And I'm getting involved in them both myself and being around your guys' community. I'd like to spend more time in each of your community because of the value you guys give, and then hopefully use that to help people find solutions to their problem, because I think we're all searching for it. But like I said, we're too scattered, too shiny thing syndrome, all that stuff. So that was a very long-winded way to say, tell us about the kingdom.
Yeah, and I really don't do a lot of pitches. So I'll just explain why or how a lot of people are finding value, and then maybe that'll make sense. Everything that we do and the mentors that are on our staff are what I would consider the big boys. Probably haven't heard of them. They're certainly not on YouTube. Certainly not like making even videos like I make. They're not making those types of videos. Like, these are the guys that have done 20,000 transactions, own thousands and thousands and thousands of units. So we have, over the course of a decade, we have attracted a really, really tight-knit group of multi-millionaires. That these are the people that are consultants and directing the group. Everyone's got something a little bit different. Some of these guys have like vacation rentals, like the Airbnbs. Guys like me, I was a little bit more kind of tooth and nail, kind of built my way to a really, really cool point, sold some businesses, rebuilt businesses, etc. But these are not the guys that kind of dink around. They're not screwing around, man. So we attract primarily people that want to build generational wealth. And that can be a combination of physical, real estate, and or small businesses, and or the digital stuff. But we've really blended them. Like I said earlier, like our whole thing is like, there is a world in which both work together. And there's a flow of money. It's something that I teach extensively. There's a flow of money that will allow you to do both, where you have a very solid foundation while still capitalizing on some of these plays that are a little bit of a higher ROI. And there's a way to do this without losing all your shit. Most people completely lose all of their money because they literally have no foundation. So if this project doesn't work out, I'm bankrupt. Well, that probably doesn't make you sleep very well at night, buddy. So why don't we build something that is sustainable? And even if crypto became illegal, quote unquote illegal, which I'm sure it won't, but even if that happened, you're not bankrupt, you're not broke, you're not losing your house. So the more that I dove in, Justin, to this world, the more like terrifying it was. Not necessarily from what I was doing, but like I was seeing people. Give you an example, we met a guy, joined one of our programs, invested 400K. The next day it rugged. 400K.
Jesus.
And it was one of those scenarios where like he didn't have any time to even join the first call. He was just like, boom, I'm in. Just like it. I started seeing terrifying stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, somebody's got to start voicing the business side of it, the entrepreneur side of it, and the investor side of it to these people to show them something maybe a little bit more stable. So that's what we do. There's about 8 of us in total that kind of run the different communities. Like I said, there's different niches and different strategies that are involved in that. Very, very active. I just taught for 2 hours before this call. So if I'm losing my voice, that's why. But in a nutshell, that is what we do. We meet here at our corporate headquarters in Canton all the time, depending on what topic. But that's about it.
Nice. No, amazing. And what I hear from that really, and the big takeaway I think that people should realize is if you're into variety, you seem to kind of go through quite an extreme compared to other groups, which are maybe more focused on certain things. So I do appreciate that, because I do think, and I think where your group can add a lot of value and does add a lot of value is taking the funds off the table, is taking your crypto wins and moving them into something that's more tangible, more accountable, and more real for the future. Because you don't need to make those degen wins after you've made a bunch of wins. You can go into something more slower and steady wins the race, and create those tax benefits to yourself by doing something more real, and then grow that now in a more, I wouldn't say responsible way, because it was great what you did before, as long as you have a plan and pull it out. But as a whole, being more accountable for your plan and not just gambling, which is what we see most of us do in this space, unfortunately, and continue to see. It's wild how we don't seem to learn from those mistakes and just keep thinking, if I throw this dart, it's going to hit the bullseye now. So yeah.
Dude, I mean, so at one point, and this is part of the learning, but it wasn't that long ago. We were making between 50 and 100K a month. This is like end of last year, right? Yeah, end of last year, 2022. To put that into perspective, an ATM as an example, an ATM is going to cost you less than 5K. It's going to cash flow between $200 and $1,000 a month. It's not going to go out of style unless debit cards and credit cards go out of. You know how quickly most people could have gotten financially free just through doing that?
Yeah.
If they would have taken just one of those months, because we were banging. This is before some crap went down and etc. But just imagine doing that. Here's another example. We have bought houses here in Ohio for $5,000, $10,000. One of my other previous business partners bought a house here for $1. $1.
Yep.
But it's just, imagine a world where you can do both, right? And to me, that's where it gets really, really exciting.
Yeah, and then you can even see money flowing back and forth as the bull run comes again. You move money back to DeFi and start maximizing on it, because you've held it for a while and not lost it all on more gamble plays. So there's a neat symbiosis between the two when you really think about it, and just playing the field based on how money is flowing, because it's not hard to see the money flow using different tools inside the DeFi space. It's easy, and it's crazy how predictable it can become if you take the time to learn it. So that's amazing. Awesome. I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything, or if there's anything else you wanted to make sure we get into, any more information on the fake money experience, or what we wanted to dive into today while we're chatting. That's for you, Jordan, now.
Open book, man.
So yeah.
Open book. If anybody has any questions about anything that we've discussed so far, don't hesitate. Open book. We literally have nothing to hide.
All
So
right.
yeah, but I would encourage people while we're waiting for questions. I'll just give people a little bit of encouragement and advice. Is first and foremost, I don't think that the decentralized finance technology is going anywhere.
No.
I think things are a little bit Western right now, but it's not going anywhere. The technology is not going anywhere. People are going to be using it. So keep your eyes and ears to the ground and be ready for that. I think
Absolutely.
educating yourself right now is the best thing that you can do. A lot of education is free, so if you don't want to pay for it, you just need to invest a little bit of time. But start to get educated about some of these topics that we've discussed today. You know,
And I believe somebody just mentioned in the chat there, I think from your group, obviously, because it says DeFi don't lie old. But I'll just throw the YouTube channel in there for the kingdom. So you guys are doing public videos as well in there, I guess, just talking about generalized things. This is, I'm presuming, like you already said, is becoming your DeFi don't lie channel mixed in with, I'm assuming, your gamut of everything. So we're in IRL stuff, whatever you're kind of looking to talk about that day.
yeah, so that channel is the official channel moving forward, and you're going to see a bunch of different interviews, kind of like this that I've conducted, some testimonials from people that have done accomplished some really cool stuff. So it'll all be on there. There's a lot of IRL stuff as well as tangible.
Awesome.
And that was me trying to post a YouTube link that obviously did not post.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I figured that must have been you. But anyways, I posted it there. I don't know if you can post links on the darn YouTube when you're not the owner of it, but it's there.
Probably.
And so yeah, guys, I do take the time, take a look at that channel, keep up with what Jordan's doing. I think there's a lot of value to certain people in the space, and I think we need to be more adaptive to listening to or at least latching onto those people and having them as part of our wheelhouse, I guess, if you will. There's a lot of negativity in the space right now. There's a lot of people that thrive on that and will only talk about that and talk about how negative things are, and just they're literally just ambulance chasers almost. They're not giving you any information. They're not telling you how to do things better. They're just telling you what's wrong with everybody else and pointing fingers everywhere else. And I'm seeing a big kind of shift to that right now. And it's sad to see because it's almost defeatist type attitude. And we don't need that right now. This is probably the best time to be in this space, in my opinion. Jordan, obviously you can write to that if you'd like, but we have the most opportunities right now to start accumulating slowly if we do it right. And prepare us for that bull run that's going to come again. I mean, it always does. It always will. It's just the when. But the more time you have to prepare, the better you can benefit from it. So, any comments on that?
I completely agree. And guys, you got to understand that, while this is the best time, it's also a difficult time with inflation and the cost of everything, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is a really good time and a really good indication that you've got to do something. Because if you don't, and you find that you're struggling now, if you don't do something, it's only going to get worse. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like to remind people, you either have everything you need right now to become successful or you don't.
Yeah.
If you do, go do it. Go be successful. If you don't, you really need to be diving in right now. You really need to be making moves and making plays right now, because I think very, very, very soon things are going to get worse in the world financially. And I think we truly will see a little bit more of a depression and all of that. Not to scare people, I'm just saying be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Get educated, because it's not going to get better. We can get better.
Yeah.
It's not going to get better.
No, and that's I guess a good point to go back on what I was saying is like we have to stop pointing the finger outward at everything else that's wrong with everything. We have the opportunity to take control ourselves, and that's what's going to empower you to do better in this space. And again, to make the biggest, easiest comparison is the .com era was an era that went through the same shit, for lack of a better term, that we're going through right now. And the people that held on and that educated themselves and that became kind of specialists in that space, they benefited. There was real people that came out of that and made a lot of money, whether it was investing in the right companies and researching them enough to get into the Googles or the Amazons or whatever, or whether it was the ones that created their own businesses out of it that flourished because of their productivity or their what's the word I'm thinking of? They're being on the ball with it all. So yeah, a lot of those things are going to be huge out of that. So take advantage of this time that we have. So, and Adam was right to the ball. He basically said educated around the same time you said it. So, um, so yeah. Any other, I guess, other than that, any other questions or or not questions, but any other comments or things that you want to get out, Jordan, while we're here? I think we're at a half an hour mark. I think that's a great kind of
Yeah.
digestible kind of a time frame. So
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And if you guys do have questions, and if you guys didn't have time to ask them, reach out to Justin, reach out to me. I'm sure either one of us will be more than happy to answer them. But just in closing, if you guys are looking to really, really elevate and step up as an investor and as a business investor or an investment business, I would highly recommend you guys consider coming out. We'd love to meet you. I'd love to show you our office and have you meet our team and see what we do. We typically do sell out. We're not sold out yet, but we typically do. So yeah, I'd love to meet you guys if it's possible. That's all I got.
and I would as well. So, yeah, that's the part that's coolest about this is just getting together with people in real life, getting some faces to names on Discord. It was really a cool experience, and I think everybody would benefit from it. And again, we've got some great people down there. Lucas has his own community as well, and then James is actually building one. We're going through some stuff with that, and then obviously Jordan, and then like I said, who else we're going to end up having there? Like I said, Austin is going to be a cool little person to have there as well, who I'm looking forward to meeting. How often do you have these dinners? So this it's not quite a dinner acidic, but basically these. Was this the first one that you had there in what was it? Geez, March, May?
Yeah. We've done 50 plus different events. So what I think the picture that you might have seen was of the VIP dinner.
Oh,
So
down here,
this is at minimum, it's 2 full days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we're together all day, every day. If we're doing the VIP, people typically fly in like a half a day early. We do a private mastermind where we really dive deep on individual businesses. And then the next morning starts like the official day one. So it's a 2 to 2.5 day event, experience, whatever you want to call it, mastermind, not just a dinner.
Yeah, exactly. And lots of information shared, lots of ability to ask questions. It's very intimate. I mean, I'm assuming we'll hopefully have a little larger crew. I say hopefully, I guess it really doesn't really matter. That's the cool, but we'll have a little larger crew for this next one. But it's still, no matter what, this building is just, no matter what, it's very intimate. It's very cozy. It's very nice for this kind of environment. And you just get to have some great conversations. And we still talk projects and talk things, but it's more done in one-on-ones and or in small groups, or we do kind of sessions afterwards where we all get to kind of just ask open questions to all the speakers, like what was done on the one on the bottom right there. So it's just a great little thing. Meals are included, I believe. Correct? Is that fair to say? Except for, I guess, I think we did one dinner out the last night kind of thing, but.
Yeah, I mean, so we typically do breakfast and lunch, and then dinner kind of depends. Like you said, last time we all went out to dinner. I don't think we paid for that. Maybe we did.
Well, James was very kind to his side of the table with a few of us over there, so I'm sure you guys did a few of those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so we're normally wrapping up outside of the VIP dinner. We're normally wrapping up right around 5. I believe we did dinner one night. We had an ice cream truck. It's actually a buddy of mine that owns a ice cream company. They actually just drove their big truck just right into our building, and we did like a ice cream like pizza type of a thing. I think on the first night. The second night we all went out to dinner. Yeah. So, but yeah, breakfast, lunch, and then I think typically one of the dinners is for sure covered.
Yeah. So, yeah, awesome. So if there's no other questions, guys, I do appreciate you spending some time here with me and Jordan. I do appreciate Jordan. Thank you for coming on.
Sure.
As I think I mentioned before we went live, I'm like, I should do more of these. And so I'm looking forward to possibly doing a few more of these. And obviously you're welcome anytime. Anybody adding value to the space is who I want to align myself with and be support as much as I can. So if anybody in my Discord has any questions, the link for my Discord is down below. There's links for, I believe, your YouTube in the description already, and for the Fake Money Experience in the description. So please click on any of those, come on by, ask any questions, and I look forward to hopefully, if possible, meeting a couple of you come October, end of October. I think we have it October 27th, 29th in Canton. So thanks again for joining, and have yourselves a great evening.
See you guys.